Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. My name is Miriam Uduak-Mensah. This is the AM Club on MX24. I'm about to get into the rest of the stories. If you're just joining in, you made the right choice. Talisa has something exciting for you, which I'm going to be sharing with you if you're just joining us pretty shortly. Now, into our next story, gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with us. We're going to get into our second story for today. Attorney General, key details of government's position on Constitutional Review Committee. And we're going to look at some of the things that were proposed or that are in the proposal. Where are you? Okay, gentlemen, I know you've seen this, so we're going to quickly go through it for our viewers so that we can touch on the conversation one after the other. Now, extending the presidential term for 4 years to 5 years, with the tenure of parliament also increased to 5 years. The government said the current 4-year cycle leaves limited time for effective governance due to a lengthy transition period and election preparation. The proposed change will apply to future presidents, not the incumbent. So those who are shouting that, hey, this Mohammed's way of
staying in power for longer.
reducing the minimum age to contest the presidency from 40 to 35, an opportunity I have been waiting for. Have you been waiting for it? Okay. Instead of the 30 years proposed by the committee to broaden participation, while maintaining a level of maturity for the office, holding presidential elections during the first week of November on a date to be determined by the Electoral Commission to provide a predictable electoral calendar and allow sufficient transition between presidential inauguration or on January 7th. Now, setting timelines for presidential election petition, requiring petitions to be filed within 14 days after the declaration of results and determined by the Supreme Court within 30 days. Electoral Commission will also be required. Okay. Now, also removing tax exemption for sitting presidents, requiring the president to pay taxes on salaries, allowances, and applicable indirect taxes, although retirement gratuity and pension will remain exempt. And capping parliament at 300 members comprising 276 constituency MPs and 24 representatives elected through proportional representation for women, persons with disabilities, and the youth. The government said an independent study would determine the structure of the proportional representation system. Now, allowing dual citizens by birth to contest parliamentary election within and without renouncing their foreign citizenship, describing the current restriction as inconsistent with Ghana's engagement with its diaspora. And gentlemen, these are the key details of government's position on Constitutional Review Committee proposal. What do we think? At least the first one we've cleared, right? Gentlemen, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I'll just take 1 more minute to, I know we've cleared that matter.
Yes.
But honestly, with the Sedina case,
yes,
I really feel like the ordinary Ghanaian, the ordinary prosecutor, and the president himself must focus on the precedents that some of these cases are setting, right? A court of appeal judgment sets a precedent for all other cases that come to the court that resemble the initial case. We don't want a system in Ghana where somebody's like particularly prosecuted, right? The person has been granted judgment and the person is fully acquitted on grounds of simple technicalities or on grounds of legal technicalities. It will set a precedent. It will open the floodgates, and a few years down the line, our confidence in the already deteriorating judiciary would have been so far worn out. And so now to the Constitutional Review Committee. Yes, indeed. I have not had time to read the full report. I mean, it's quite extensive.
Why?
It is quite a very large document. Did you see the Attorney General holding that book? I have the soft copy and I've read tidbits, but I have not taken the time to read the entire judgment. But overall, I would say that my first take on that report is that the recommendations, the recommendations for, what is it called? Amendments, the amendments overall generally seem very progressive, in my opinion. I don't see, a constitution according to Justice Sowa and to former Attorney General is defined as a living, breathing document. It is something that embodies the will of the people, and it is something that where the spirit or the mood of the people change, the constitution can definitely be amended to fit the current mood of the people. And I think that the amendments that have been suggested generally reflect the feels and the moods of the Ghanaian people today. Touching on the key points that you mentioned, the 5-year term, taxing the president's salary and all of that. I think, first of all, let me take the 5-year term. I think that it is also quite progressive. A lot of African countries have 5-year terms for presidency and parliamentarians. It allows them more time to transition into government. It allows them more time to election properly so that they can campaign and they can have time to do all that stuff. But a 5-year term also, I feel, does not really feel good in the tongues of the Ghanaian people. I feel like the general sentiment on the 5-year term says, if it is not broken, then let's not fix it. A 4-year term comes with a lot of hurdles, yes, that's true. But we still managed to get the job done overall. There has been no president that has been sworn in after 7th January or something. No, it's not possible. No matter what, we'll get it done. It takes a village, but it can be done.
Okay.
Right? So extending to 5 years is, personally, I don't think it's a problem.
Needed.
But I also think that the Ghanaian people generally feel like we should not fix something that is not broken.
Someone made a very important comment. He says, if Mahama could, within a few months, set up his government and start running before the year ends, why are we recommending
a 5-year term?
Shouldn't we actually applaud this and push for presidents to stop sitting down but just get the work done?
Yes, because
as soon as possible.
Presidents campaign and they have committees that build their manifesto.
Yes.
They come prepared.
Yes.
They come fully prepared, knowing exactly what they are going to do, where they are going to start from,
Yes.
and what they need to fix.
Yes.
So the extra year, in my opinion,
it's not
really.
Yeah. Like you said, if it's not working, then
let's not fix it. Yes, indeed.
Okay, Jesse.
Yeah, Mimi. So I think a similar commission was inaugurated somewhere around 2011. That was the Professor Fiajo Committee, and even that one was a commission. They even had greater authority than the Professor Kwesi Prempeh Committee, because for the Professor Fiajo, they even had people from both political parties representing in the commission. And by with this one, I think it's just some few governance experts gathering information from Ghanaians as to what they want to be amended in the 1992 Constitution. Now, particularly on the presidential term, moving it from 4 years to 5 years. The question I ask myself, why not 7 years?
Why?
Because the whole rationale behind the 4 to 5 years is because most political parties can't deliver on their manifesto promises. And so they want an increased term, which is an additional year, so that they can have maximum time to complete some of their developmental projects. And if that is the case, and it was even referenced by our former president, John Ejekum Kufuor, the then former president, Mahama also said same. Former president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo also said same, and they all referenced it to a point that they are not able to complete most of their developmental projects in their manifesto, and so they need an additional term to be able to complete most of them. And I'm asking that if that is the case, then why don't we extend it to either 7 or 8 years? Get it? To my opinion, I think that 5 years.
That way, if it's bad, then we die.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, but that's bad. That's too much. That's the extreme.
I mean, some portion of the Ghanaian community also says that if we are giving 5 years, then why don't we also give 7 years?
Okay.
To also give them,
extra
maximum time for them to complete their manifesto.
I have a question for Jesse.
You don't have a question. You don't have a question. No, sir. I'm speaking to you. I'm the host of the show. I'm talking to you. You're ignoring me. Okay, Jesse, please, you cannot interject.
And so I think that the 5 years will not make any significant change.
Right.
And the problem with our developmental projects in this country is that we don't have a national agenda for the nation's development. And so every political party comes in after being voted in, and they now plan on which of the projects to start and which one not to start. But if we have a national agenda, I think that every government will just step into administration and begin to continue what the past government has started on. And so 5 years, Mimi, will not make any significant change to me.
Okay.
I mean,
Alright.
after some few years, you will come back here with another commission to also increase the presidential term from 5 years to 6 years, and we will be going on and on and on because we don't have a national agenda for this country.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Jesse. Reginald, you were saying.
Ghana's democracy is over 34 years. It's
Right.
one of the most attractive democracies across the sub-Saharan African region. And there's a reason why it's attractive, because of how we practice it. And I think that the 4 years is fine. If you look at the fathers of democracy and what they are practicing now, 4 years is enough for them to be able to do what they are supposed to do. One of the things that the Constitutional Review Committee is doing, which is good, is moving elections to first week in November. That gives us the rest of November for any forms of appeals or petitions, if there need be. And then the entire December for changing, and getting your government prepared. Within the first month after inauguration, there should be the formation of boards. There should be the appointment of ministers. And His Excellency had demonstrated that when he promised that within 7 days, he was going to get his cabinet ministers appointed. It was done. And so I think that once you're able to do some of these things and come in with a clear plan and not a plan that is set for honeymoon, then you should be able to get some things done within the 4 years. I also think that it is laudable that we are there's a suggestion to increase parliamentarians from 256 to 300. Representation matters. Persons with disability, they also have a voice. Women, we have consistently struggled to even reach the benchmark of 30% of women representation in parliament. His Excellency promised that his cabinet was going to have that. Unfortunately, he didn't get to the mark that he wanted. So if there's that intentional plan, which is going to ensure that there are going to be persons with disability, women, and young people being represented in parliament, I think is great. My only challenge will be how these people are going to be appointed, because it's not going to be by election. You get what I mean? The other recommendation that I think is worthy of talking about is the election of MMDCs. I think it is laudable that we elect them, but the process in which the recommendation came is what I have a challenge with. And I am speaking the mind of Reginald, not the mind of the NDC. And my suggestion is, why are we going to be electing MMDCs? And the suggestion is that there are going to be recommendations from the president, and the top 3 are going to be elected. Then it means that it's the same old process again, but just remodified. If we want to elect them, then we should elect them like how it is done in the advanced democracies, like the New York the New York mayor. You know him, right? Yes, like how his election went through. You know that this is somebody that really cared about the city, just so that the AMA boss does not think that he owns some allegiance to the government, and so he has to just speak the mind of the government. But really what the people want is what he's going to be championing. And so I think that election of MMDC is laudable, but the process should be looked at. The other recommendations that came in, which I also pretty much justified, yes, the age.
Or the dual citizenship.
Yes, the age. The age being shifted from 40 years to 35 years. I think it's also laudable.
Really
and so within the next 8-10 years, you should see Reginald's face trying to
yes,
run for presidency.
yes.
But what that also presents is that, we like you said, the Constitution is a breathing document. The nation is progressing. And just so for that matter, we are moving from that situation where we think that, young people's minds are just limited. These are people that also have a wide scope. A 35-year-old gentleman, 35-year-old woman can also lead a nation if they have that strong conviction, if they have the connection, if they have the resources to do so. And so it's laudable that the age limit is being reduced. And the other recommendation is also worthy of talking about, the one you mentioned, the dual citizenship. I think it's a very dicey situation. Other people have suggested that giving room for dual citizens will mean that, the politicians want their children to come and take over. Because their children are those that are able to travel and have the dual citizenship, which is to an extent true. But if you look at Ghana and where we sit, Ghana touts itself as the gateway to Africa. And you know how much the diaspora means to Ghana, and how our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, we are calling them back to be a part of this country. And so if we are having that callback, then it is just right that we also give them room to be able to hold leadership positions, which is fair. Because when you go to the UK, there are Ghanaians, Nigerians that are holding positions. If you go to the US, if you go to other spaces. And so it is just fair that we have our diaspora community inviting them to come back, and also telling them that if you come back, you're not an alien, you can also hold positions. Kojo Choi got nominated as Ghana's ambassador to South Korea. There was a huge outburst. My outburst was not that, oh, he's from South Korea, and he was also Ghana's ambassador to South Korea. Mama appointed me. I don't even remember him. Yes, these are some of the things that suggest that our diaspora community really does matter to us. And so if they come, they can also hold some positions. And so the recommendations are laudable, except that there are still more that we are expecting. You know, one of the things that we're talking about is how we have to be, how Article 71 holders are being exempted from tax, and how now the suggestion is that the president is going to be paying taxes. Because you have to, if you're a leader, you have to lead by example. And one of the ways is that if Mimi is going to be paying 25 to 30% in taxes, the president should do same. And so I think it's a lot of.
Well, finally, there is a conversation that erupted over the weekend that we wanted to speak to the Bastard Boys on, something that you're very passionate about. He's currently on his way to Sweden for another project, and so we're not able to speak to him because, you know, he's a very, very diligent and he's not going to drive and talk on the phone, so he wouldn't do that. But a big shout out to the Bastard Boys. They discovered in Tema Newtown over the weekend or before the weekend that there is an area, if you know Tema Newtown very well, those who haven't been there today, I'm going with, because I've never been, so I'm going to see the place with Augustine. So we ascertain whether or not the TMA had started working over there. So this is what you see over there at Tema Newtown. People defecating at the bank of the the shores of the sea. Then there's refuse all over. Initially, Augustine and I were suggesting that these are refuse that were in the sea, so that, you know, washed. But I think that what also has happened over time is that people have also used the place as dumping sites. You know, to
use themselves as well.
Yeah, because you can see a few people by there, and then right at where you can find the refuse, they're drying fishes over there to come and sell to us. And there you see it on the screen. And wanted to speak about it. But in fact, TMA has released a statement. FDA has released a statement that they've gone to confiscate all the fishes over there and educated the people by the bank. Because the other bit of it is that these people probably were born into this, and so they don't know any better. So education was necessary, and so they did some education. But beyond that, the conversation is, we just had National Day of Sanitation. So what then happened to this place? Because we had military men on the ground going across the length and breadth of this country. So what, did he see this? And then there is an MP in this area. There is an assemblyman. There's an MMDC in this area. TMA is also strongly in that place. Please, what do you want to say?
Mimi, I just want to say a big shout out to Bastard Boys, right? And, you know, every first Saturday of every month has been declared National Sanitation Day. And that is why we have a serious problem with our MMDAs. They don't work. This Saturday, I joined the National Health Authority for a cleanup exercise. And ordinarily, if it is a National Day of Sanitation, people should be working already for us to join hands. It was like an excursion for them. We are working and they are watching us. Nobody cares. There's no strict enforcement. There's nothing. Like, everybody is just living in this country like vibes and each and love. And it is even, you struggle to even find dustbins. You know, the FDA cannot tell us that they didn't know this thing is happening in Tema Newtown.
They cannot.
The TMA cannot tell us that they don't know that these things are happening. But the only thing that echoes in my mind is we are all involved. And so young people, we are all involved. We shouldn't leave the work for just Bastard Boys. Tema Boys, you see some of these things. There should be proper checks. Right now, it's not even difficult to report issues. Just use your phones, take videos, post them. Some of our mothers need sensitization. Some of the people need education. Like, there should be that intentionality. I think that Ghana has come a long way for us to be joking some of these things. It is so serious. You know, I like the fact that they went to Jamestown. Some parts of Jamestown has been better, but there are also parts of Jamestown which is also not fine. You know, it's also like as chaotic as the Tema Newtown space. I want to join you and Augustine to go do this exploration.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen. If you don't have a bite, you don't have it quickly. We finish at 10.
I have vowed to myself not to speak on sanitation issues in this country.
Why? Because you are not part of.
Frankly speaking.
Why?
Because Mimi, everyone, every citizen living under the sun in this country knows what to do and what not to do.
Absolutely.
And so I don't see the sense in me coming here to talk about sanitation in this country. The last time I sent you a review report on what happened June 3rd in this country. I mean, the causes is known to everybody in this country. We all know how to solve it. We all know the solutions to the sanitation problems in this country. The fact is that, and we always say it on this platform, we always come here, we say it, somebody somewhere has decided not to work as he should do, and someone is sleeping on his or her job. That is the fact. And look, we all know the people that are sleeping on their jobs. We all know. But you see, nothing works in this country. And in fact, we are not good at anything in this country. We just wake up, wear our nice clothes, go and sit in our offices, and at the end of the day, we expect the government to use taxpayers' money to pay civil servants. Meanwhile, they are expected to oversee some of these nuisances in our societies. Look, when you go to Medina, Lagos Medina, there is a mansion of refuse right beside the roadside. No. A mansion of refuse, because when you see the refuse dump, Mimi, it's mind-boggling. And you ask yourself, there is an MP in this constituency. There is somebody who is supposed to take care of such nuisances in our communities. But at the end of the day, they don't know it. And so I have had myself not to talk about sanitation at all.
It's true. I agree with my brother on the other side that we are all involved. Yes, in fact, we may have some government officials who are not paying as much attention to the sanitation issue. But if you live in filth, you become filth. And so we are all involved. Everybody has a part to play in the sanitation matter. I believe that the government must also be very proactive in solving this issue. I remember after the floods in June, people had damaged stuff, from their households, and it was lining the road as if it was causing traffic. You can't even pass. And I was asking myself, so who is going to clean this up? If you're waiting for the government to come and clean it up for you, you may end up living right back in the filth that you just moved out. So we are all involved. Everybody must keep a safe space. We must remember that cleanliness is next to godliness.
We always say this, but there is no improvement. We always say this.
Don't interject. Thank you.
We always
thank you very much.
His
But the other bit is that
We
before we
always
go,
say
no, I close at 10. Right now we are national, so nationwide. So I use 1 minute to wrap up. If the more you talk, you take my time. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. And please, we're so grateful. Reginald is joining us for our trip today.
I would like to go as well.
Please,
perhaps.
thank you so much. Jesse, you'll say, so I think that on this platform, Jesse, please, I'm speaking. On this platform, this one thing we do, we have vowed to make sure that the voice of the young person is heard, and make sure that we include every young person in every important national conversation, so that we know that we are not voting voices because we have the power to vote. We're voting voices because we have the power to vote and make government decisions with government, okay? Or governance decision with government. That's the way to go. So we're encouraging you, like we always say here, we're learning and growing together. Every day we find out problems and we're solving them one day at a time. And so let's keep learning and growing together. My name is Miriam Udwak Mensah. See you again tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.